But science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and you lose you?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck off and die.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe my face was replaced with somebody who knows nothing about film.
Oh,
Maybe.
Just your face.
Just me.
That is where I hold all my film knowledge, is just like right in my cheeks, you know, just like.
Yeah. No, it's definitely in that weird, perfect, like structured
the jowls.
My face. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you take my skin off, I still have like a fine face. It just looks like I got raspberry jam on it.
I know you still got enough lips to hold a cigarette and talk. Anyway, this is the Culture 7 Knowledge podcast. That's no face Jordan. I got two faces on right now.
I'm all teeth. That's like, a doctor.
Yeah, that's how he was talking too, and I'm like, it's fine. I'm like, you don't have any eyelids, like, but it's.
I know. Well, I love how he's smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, that is not sterile, dude. You need to be hermetically sealed.
Well,
if you've got an
let's
open wound.
not jump down the throat of the scientific accuracy of this movie, because we will be here all day if that's what we focus on.
I emailed a doctor, and I went, doctor.
I know.
His face off in the movie, in the 1997 version of Face Off. Could you remove a face and put it into a jar and then have Nicolas Cage put it on later?
Can I have someone's face who has a different blood type than me? Is that cool? Like, is that how that works?
No. Oh, dude, that blew my mind, baby. When the wife finds out a B, so
we're talking about
turvy, dude.
Cutting a lot of our faces off and our stupid faces and all that. You might be wondering, hey, guys, what are you talking about today? We're talking about, of course, the movie Face Off.
Oh,
yes. I was trying to think of another movie that people get their faces cut off. There's not enough.
I just got it.
I just want to take his face off.
His face off.
And they face off. Yes.
They face off.
It's very good.
I didn't understand that.
It's very good.
And yeah. I mean, technically, it should be called Face Off / Face On.
That's the perfect kind of cleverness for John Woo too. Like, I feel like the limited knowledge I have of John Woo and his filmography, like, he was like, it works on 2 levels. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's how kind of this whole movie, like all his clever bits where it's just like they go to shoot each other, but then they're like facing the mirror, each one of them. And it's like, it's awesome. That's why it's so cool.
I actually love this movie so much.
It's pretty dope.
I'm getting into these, like, the action movies that we've been picking this month have been spectacular. Like, I feel like last episode I said I wanted to watch The Expendables. I guarantee you I'm going to hate The Expendables and be bored as hell.
Yeah.
But, like, watching these, like, I mean, and there's probably a tinge of nostalgia, even though I've never seen this movie. Like,
that's right. Yeah.
I've never seen it credit to credit. I've seen, I've seen like the boat chase and the face off.
I kind of forgot about the boat chase, but okay, we'll get it. It's the boat chase is so cool. And I was like, oh yeah, of course. Cause it's like, obviously we watched The Killer some time ago.
He loves his boats.
Boat chase. Yeah. John Woo loves his boats.
And did you see my letterbox for it? I totally I dogged on him for his bird shots, dude. He loves his birds.
doves and boats, man. That's like his fucking thing. I want to see his new movie that just came out, the Christmas one or whatever, Silent Night, to see if there's doves and boats. Like, there must be.
No, there guarantee you there's going to be a dove shot. Like, there's going to be.
There has to be.
I was laughing because there was like a small bird shot early on in the movie, and I was like, oh, that's okay. It's like, oh yeah, John Woo classic. He does his birds and he loves his double guns, and like, I love John Woo. But then later in the church, it's like,
yeah,
funeral.
Yeah.
Johnny, that's so many birds.
I know. And he goes to steals the guy's boat, and he just fucking empties an SMG into his chest. He was like, "Hey, take the boat." Anyway, before we get, I want to get your reactions for first time seeing it and stuff and impressions. But First, let's read a synopsis for the folks at home. This movie is like 25 years old or however, and it might have been a while since you watched it. So here it's my week to do a synopsis, right? Because I wrote one.
Yes, yeah.
So let's hope so. So here's my synopsis for Face Off. So when badass FBI agent Sean Archer's son is killed by international playboy terrorist for hire Castor Troy, the two men's lives become entangled forever. 6 years after the fact, Castor and his brother Pollux plant a massive bomb in L.A., then give it a few weeks to explode. While trying to escape, their plans are foiled by Archer, who stops their plane from taking off by crashing a helicopter into it. There's a shootout where Pollux is captured and Castor is seemingly killed. Sometime later, the Fuzz are trying to figure out the location of the bomb, but Pollux isn't giving up the goose. Sean finds out Castor is still alive in a coma when he is approached by some black-budget CIA operative and doctor who says that he can cut off the dude's face and swap him. Allowing Archer, this is, I realize writing this up, this movie's kind of more convoluted to explain than what actually happens on screen.
No, dude, this is literally like 6 different movies.
It is.
It is wild.
Well, it's essentially a body swap movie, you know what I mean? It's a Freaky Friday, but
it's Freaky Friday Prison Break, like on top of like Boat Show and Bird Show.
Right. So anyway, so they swap, allowing Archer to go undercover into a super secret prison and get the location of the bomb from Pollux Troy. It's a foolproof plan. Now with Castor's face, Sean goes into the prison to get the goods. But whoops, while there, Castor wakes up, forces the CIA doctor to give him Sean's face, which is just chilling in a vat, then proceeds to kill everyone involved in the operation, essentially trapping them in each other's bodies and lives. Castor gets his brother out of jail and leaves Sean to rot while he fucks his wife and terrorizes his daughter, though he does save her from real-life rapist Danny Masterson, who just happened to wander onto set. But being the badass he is, Sean escapes the super prison with the help of Frank Sabatka from The Wire and makes his way back to L.A. to get his goddamn face back. He cavorts with Castor's criminal gang and meets his unknown child, who looks just like Sean's dead son, which freaks him out. But while Castor is playing super crooked cop in Sean's body, Archer convinces his wife that he is who he says he is, and she eventually agrees to help him. There are a few more shootouts and a sweet boat chase where Archer finally manages to kill Castor Troy. With the help of his wife and some bad science, he is able to convince everyone of the truth. After he gets his face back, he basically steals Castor's son and replaces him as his own, even putting him in his son's old bedroom. So it's as if nothing ever happened and everyone lives happily ever after.
Yeah, I know, dude. The psychological trauma at the end of that movie.
I forgot. Like, did the mom die in the shootout? Did I miss it? Like at the church? Oh, she did, right?
Yeah, she did.
Or
yeah.
She must have, but it was so quick. That I was like,
arrested. Remember, she was laying on somebody's corpse crying.
Yeah, that's right.
She might have gotten shot or got arrested. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
I just like that he shows up with the kid that's like, I thought for a second was the same actor. And they're like, look, Michael, he's back. And they're like, we got a room for you. And he's like, let me show you your room, Michael. I mean, Adam. You know what I mean? It's just like, Jesus. Literally, and he's like, you could take the scar away now. I don't need it anymore. And it's just like, because I've erased the Castor from existence.
Yeah. It's like, he's like, I finally got everything I wanted, the nuclear family. Like, that's
it's odd.
I swear to God, this movie was like, was a witch's curse. And they were like, you must put every plot device ever crafted into one film.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be like, this literally is like a Hallmark movie mixed with like a crazy sci-fi action thriller, you know, on top of that, the Freaky Friday. Like, this is like fucking
like a terrorist espionage. Like, there's so much a prison break. Like,
it's a prison break, and like they do like American terrorism, how it is, and like show you know, it's kind of like, it's like U.S. propaganda where it's like we have the greatest technology known to man. We've got crazy police force. It's like a buddy cop comedy for a minute too. Like, it's wild. Like, they put everything in it.
Yeah,
they got it all.
It's definitely kind of a kitchen sink movie, which is I mean, it works.
But it does. Well, no,
it works on the screen. It's hard to decipher that down to a couple paragraphs. Because it's like Castor, but he's in Archer's body and blah, 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 you know what I mean? But on screen, it's all very legible. Like, I was never confused about the plot because...
No, I think
it was secondary, sort of. You know, like I don't know, it's just there.
Well, there's like there is no true like there's no character development. All the characters are themselves, and like the like resolution is just bad guys lost. You know, that's kind of it. You know, it's like
the characters are good but simple. Like they each have their own little like tells. Like he's got that dumb thing with the face, and
dude, that right there, everything in this movie totally is grounded and fits. But that weird act of affection just disturbs me. I don't like Victoria and I have been doing it to each other ever since we watched this movie.
He does it too. His stolen enemy's child.
It's the funniest thing in the world. Like it opens. So this movie already opens an hour in to another movie.
Yeah.
So
he's got the mustache and everything.
Yeah, he's got the mustache. It's like got the rifle, and it's like he's got like the long cigarette, or I don't even think he can't.
No, he's just like drinking a soda. He's just like
drinking a soda. And he's like
so how casual murder is.
Yeah, right. He like throws his cloak out and like whips out the sniper rifle and like aims it on him and kills his son. And then it's like I literally was like, I'm in this like hour. This is already an hour into a film.
Well, and it's so weird because when it jumps forward 6 years, it's at the end of another film.
At the end of
because it's like they're like the NYPD or LAPD intelligence, if you can even call it that, they're like been honing in on him for weeks, and then they catch him as he's making his daring escape.
It's the climactic. It's the climactic chase where they get the bad guy.
Every scene of this movie is a climax to another movie.
I know, and I said that to Victoria. I was like, oh my god, this is like what Zack Snyder wishes he was. Like Zack Snyder does like all the action shots.
So does Michael Bay. I was watch this movie, and I had to go change my star rating for Bad Boys 2 because I'm like, Bad Boys 2 just wishes he was John Woo.
Wishes, dude. No, John Woo really like I like he deserves all the praise he gets.
Somehow this movie fucking works so good though. Like it is. It's sort of dumb, but it's so cool.
I think it's that. It's the true sincerity of like.
It's the sincerity.
I mean,
They commit to the bit. They never are like there are bits like where they have like the fucking like Willem scream and like all the crazy like there are things like that where it's like they know that it's like over the top.
He's like the one guy who's like the last stand with the shotgun and he blasts that one cop or whatever and it like
flies like 15 feet in the air.
You know what I love? I think this is what I love about it too. Is like it doesn't matter that I can see the crash box behind him and
the wires,
the rope that the wires that he's yanked on.
Yeah.
But like I can see it and it almost like it's like I just fucking I'm grinning. I'm grinning with charm.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm just like I love it and like and that boat when he just like fucking like blast that dude off the boat at the end and it pulls him away. You just like I love that you can see like whatever kite he was on and then they just yank him off the boat. I love like you can see the harness under their shirt. It yanks the stuntman away. Like of this movie, like the fact that hey, the fucking Oscar nominations are out. Why do we not have a stuntman category?
Dude,
Why isn't there something like that that's like effects, like human effects or something?
I'm always pretty aware of the stunts, but this movie was like another level, dude. The stuntmen on this movie were working hard because not only are they just jumping and fucking shooting off of stuff like crazy, but by the end I'm just like, come on,
an hour and a half,
dude. Like, yeah, skipping ahead to the boat scene a little bit. It's like that guy hanging off the side of the speedboat and just flopping there like a fucking, they're going like 90 miles an hour on the speedboat and then like getting up and skiing on his feet.
Yeah.
And then right after he crashed into a police boat and like exploded, like it's just, it's so much. It's so much, but it's so cool. And you're invested. You're invested. There's a guy
in the boat. When it goes through that other boat, you see him.
He's there. He's like, fuck. And I'm like, a guy did that.
Yeah, like a human being did that, presumably more than once. Like,
I know, right? And John Woo's like, yeah, we got like 6 police boats, like destroy them all. It's like we got it on the first shot, John. I said destroy them all.
Yeah, you heard me. I said destroy them.
But you're invested because it's like, even though like I think I said this on the Reddit, but like early on. You're ready to kind of rag on this movie, you know, because it's like in a fun way, you know, but you're like, oh, this is goofy. Like Nick Cage is doing his fucking crazy Nick Cage thing. And John Travolta is just being weird. And like he's acting fine, but he's like plastic. I don't know. He's a weird man. Like I feel like he's not actually human. He's a lizard person. If there's anyone's a lizard person, like it's John Travolta.
Well, I think whatever work he had done was stretching his face back, and so he was like, "I am emoting." And they're like, "No, Travolta, you gotta give some like emotion here."
No, he actually is wearing the deceased actor. That there's been like 5 John Travoltas at this point. And they just keep cutting his face off and wearing it. That's where this.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
it's based on a true story of this movie.
Whatever. Yeah, he keeps just whatever like big Kahuna burger he eats and it stops his heart. They just get a new John Travolta.
The prop, he was wearing the prop on his face the entire time. But so the whole time you're like, this is wonky. But then it's just like you are really invested, and by the time that like caster, you get a good idea of like you can't spend a long time developing these characters. They're like, these are who these guys are, and then by the time they switch bodies, you're really like invested because the acting. Even though it's like just like a simple kind of one-dimensional character, but it's just like John Travolta playing Castor Troy. He's like doing all of Nick Cage's crazy mannerisms really well that you're invested. And then you're like, even though I don't give a fuck about Sean Archer, I'm just like, I need these 2 classic good guy and classic bad guy. Like I just want to see them triumph and come ahead with 15 climaxes at the end. And then, and it's great. Well, so by the time it just gets insane, more and more and more insane, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm there. I'm ready, buddy.
And I think like Nicolas Cage and John Travolta rocked their switch.
They were great.
Switch roles.
They were great.
Like it was amazing, and it was like really seamless. Like I totally believed that they were together because for this movie they got together and they lived in a hotel room for like 2 weeks straight. Just so they could like really get into the mind of each other, like really get into their bodies, and like
that makes sense. That tracks.
I think they nailed it. Like I
think they did too, which is crazy because it's like they're like such huge actors, but they're like I don't know, like they're not really considered like great actors, but they're doing some weird stuff in this, but it's like it really works, and they do a really good job with it. That by half hour in, you kind of like you don't ever forget that it's John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. You can't because they're like John Travolta and Nicolas Cage.
They're icons, but
they become their characters, especially since they did like it's great. I don't know. The body swap element is really well done, and I kind of forgot because I saw this movie half a dozen times as a kid, and I remember it quite well. But I haven't watched it in like 15 years, right? But I'm like, it hit all the beats, but it's just like in my mind, it's like, oh, it's like the meme. It's like, oh, face off. And it's like goofy. But I was like, it's goofy, but it's so committed to it that it's just like, you never really feel that. And so it's just like, I'm there, man, the whole time. It worked. I'm surprised at how well it worked. And I'm surprised I didn't feel the runtime either.
No, I didn't feel the runtime at all. And I loved that it like, this was R, right? It had to have been, right? And I can't imagine just for sheer violence. But it also like I'm kind of happy how creepy they went with it too. Like Nick Cage was like just a creepy, disgusting slime bag, and then it was so cool to have John Travolta play that, like because John Travolta doesn't really play the sleazy creep that often.
Yeah, and it's like his character is like that guy. To start
mid '90s Travolta isn't trying to be weird and gross.
I feel like he's like, what would Nick Cage do? Oh, I would lick my daughter's face and call her a peach. You know what I mean? I'm just like, it's awesome.
The
trauma.
He's like when he's like I could eat a peach for hours. I was like, oh god, this is repulsive. But I mean, dude, yeah, it's like I think the thing I like I kind of like couldn't stop thinking about is when this movie's just like it's so comical in how sincere it is. But when they're like we're gonna switch you and we're gonna take your body down and remove your love handles and like make you like thin. But then I was like, when they switch him back, they're like, we're gonna give you your shitty doughy body. Like they have the technology.
It's literally like don't think about it. Like
to make him kind of fat again. Like they're like
we put your fat in a vat too, you know.
They're like, don't worry, we'll give you your shitty body back as is.
Yeah.
Like I loved how like it's science fiction, but they're like fuck it.
Well, they tried to make it sciencey by like that's the thing. It's like they kept trying to be like it's science fiction, but like it's cutting edge. So, but it was like still
near future, right? Yeah.
But it's like this is the timeline, sort of like the release date comes out after, but it's like the general public didn't really know about DNA much, and so it's just like instead of the blood type thing, they should have just went with the DNA instead of the blood type thing, because the blood type thing is just wonky.
Well, no, I forgot that the wife was a doctor, so I was like, what is she gonna do with like a vial of his blood? Like, I forgot. I was like, oh yeah, I guess she just goes to the doctor place. But I just love how convenient it is. Like this is definitely this movie to me. I kept like equating it to like an anime. Like there are just so many times where I'm like a scene.
That really makes sense. Yeah,
would be like really strong, and then they would just go and they'd be like, well, all right, now we need cartoon logic to get us here. And it doesn't, as long as the scene is like constructed well and it lands, it doesn't really, the whole plot doesn't matter.
And even if the logic is somewhat cartoony, it's consistent throughout, and it's committed. It's committed to it. So that's why you're never like questioning it, so much. It's like, a lot of the stuff probably nowadays it's like, oh yeah, they'll print an ear, whatever. Like,
right. But I think it's just the things that kind of are glaring are like that, like Jean-Pierre, like Melville, like or whatever Jean-Pierre, like Melville, like that fucking City of Lost Children style prison that they're in.
Oh
like,
yeah,
it
dude.
becomes this like kind of like 1984 like style of just like they're walking in circles on these like magnetic floors where it's like so like it becomes. That's where the cartoon logic is.
And it's like, so secure that they just give him, as they're giving him a fucking like fucking brain fucking electroshock treatment. They're like, here's a cigarette and let's just take your boots off and everything. And it's like, they're like, this is the hardest, most secret Black Ops prison ever. And it's just like so easy to escape first try.
And it's literally like a mile off the coast of LA. Like,
I know the first shot, the first shot, you're like, oh dude, they're on an oil tanker, like an abandoned oil tanker in the middle ocean. Oh shit. And then it turns and it's just like, oh, it's actually just right there. There's like boats right there. There's like people fucking vacationing right there.
Yeah, like I could literally just float on my back. The current would take me to the shore. Like,
it's like those things never took me out of it. I don't know. It's weirdly enough.
This is Octane month, so like the action, just like this movie's the pacing propels you forward so consistently that, like you said, the runtime, like this is 218, and where Predator could have been like literally 25 minutes shorter, and it would have been structurally the exact same. And like thinking about it more, like we said on that episode, go listen to that episode. I've kind of forgot about that runtime. Like I kind of just like all I remember.
Like we said, we were going to it exists in your memory better because you remember you don't remember the dull moments.
A 48-minute movie instead of an hour and 48 minutes. Like where this movie, I'm like, you don't cut anything.
No.
Don't cut anything.
Honestly, it could have been like the third act of fucking after Pollux dies and like Castor goes like full psycho. Like I could have taken more of him becoming like the new FBI commissioner and like
I know.
Like I could have done all that.
There's so many threads where I'm like, oh, it's kind of fun to see them
because it is so many different movies. That's the thing.
I was bummed that it was the prison scene was like my only thing that I could have cut because it was so much. Like it literally could have been 2 scenes in the prison of him establishing, oh, I found my brother. He's a dumb idiot. He told me where the secret thing is. I tell the cops. Then next scene, you come back to him after you get to see John Travolta.
I'm a sucker for I'm a sucker for a good prison riot, in a movie though, like a good prison break, like
the prison break was dope. Great. That's what I'm saying. It's like there's like 5 scenes in the prison that I'm just like, we don't need that. He doesn't need to be in the cell, waiting, being like tortured.
You don't need Thomas Jane's character at all. But I'm happy to see him, like with his blonde, cute glasses and everything. He's just like, yeah, get him. And he helps him escape a little bit at the end by killing the one cop. And I know you don't care, but I was like, Bunny Colvin from The Wire is like his original, like the black guy sergeant that gets killed. And then later I'm like, oh, it's Frank Sabatka. So there's 2 dudes from The Wire in this. I'm like, yeah, this makes me like it even more, man.
Yeah. I know this had so many, like, later on when you had like the desperado, the gang that comes into the church and like they're firing up. there's that bad guy dude. He plays the like generic Irish dude in like everything.
Right?
He's got,
Yeah.
like the big scar. He's from like Hell's Angels or whatever that show is.
Yeah.
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, it's that guy. Like that's great. Like I feel like John Woo just got like the roster of whoever we wanted.
did.
And on that note, I wanna this is like a little fun factoid. It is amazing how many people like this was a huge project, and it's amazing how many actor like the dual counterpart of like IRL celebrities that were gonna be casted for this movie. They went through a huge roster, and can I name some of the names for you?
Let's hear 'em.
If you don't know them, everybody out there in podcast land, listen up because it's a doozy. Originally, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were gonna be the two counterparts, which I think every single one of these names would have been a beautiful movie. I think it would have been great. I love what we are, what we have right now, what's canon. But my mind is really going places.
They wouldn't like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger would be cool, but like they wouldn't get they just wouldn't get as weird with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
No, exactly. No, but I think it's like Michael Douglas and Harrison Ford.
that'd be weird. That'd be fun.
Weird.
Yeah, that'd be
That's
weird.
but that would be like I'd be like scared, kind of sad a little bit. They're both pretty sad actors, so it's like
Yeah.
weird. And then Bruce Willis and Alec Baldwin. Can we go
Yeah,
there for a
dude.
minute? 'Cause that's a good. I want to see that celebrity death match because
Yes.
that
Oh,
is sick.
yeah.
Dude, that would actually be really good because Bruce Willis gets weird with it. Like he definitely 12 Monkeys, Bruce Willis and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like it would have been cool to see that. And then maybe my favorite. I know that Bruce Willis and Alec Baldwin's pretty good, but then Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
Oh yeah. See, that's like the one everyone
pretty
wanted
cool.
to do that. You got the more serious version of Face Off with Heat or whatever, you know.
Right. Oh, sure. Yeah.
But it's
So, yeah, you're right. He does kind of fall in that.
if they were gonna remake Face Off today, who would be the pair?
Oh man, I think it would have to be like, oh man,
Be like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt or something.
yeah, I think that's
They're both too old now,
that's a
but
fun, that's a
but
fun
still.
pretty boy. I think no, dude. I'm trying to think who could pair with Jim Carrey. it would 100%.
Dude, Sam Rockwell and
like,
Jim Carrey. That's the one I want to watch. That's the one I want to watch.
That's a good one. It has to be Jim Carrey. You need someone who's kind of plastic and weird and rubbery and like
Yeah, he's in.
You need somebody.
See, and then
who
Sam
can, like,
Rockwell could
freak
flip
out.
the script. You know what I mean? Like he'd be the guy.
100%.
Like,
Yeah, Sam
he
Rockwell
could
definitely
feed on
does
that
that.
energy for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, the version we got pretty
everybody
good.
out
They should
there,
remake
podcast
this.
Yeah.
No,
you
because
guys-
then it would just all be CG. That's the thing. It would all
tell
be
us,
CG.
tell us your favorite
Dream casting.
Yeah. Come to r/cold of similar knowledge and let us know.
And they made this now though. They just shoot it all on a green screen.
I know, and he'd be like John Cena and The Rock or something. Like
That'd be
that.
kind of fun, honestly. Though I kind of like John Cena.
I know, me too. Yeah. But no, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This movie's fun. What was your? So this is your first time watching it, and Victoria watched it with you.
She did, yeah, and she loved it. Like she was on board because it just like it hit right. We both like literally. I caught 5 minutes in. I was like, what the fuck's going on? I like paused it to see if I accidentally started the movie in the middle.
You like skipped a scene.
Yeah, for some reason, because like I sometimes rent them off of like YouTube, and if YouTube's acting weird, sometimes it'll just start the movie somewhere in
Right.
the middle. And so like I was like, is something wrong? And I paused and I was like, no, we're just in it.
It's like back in the day where it's like you accidentally skipped a scene on the DVD. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
wait, what?
yeah,
It sat on the remote. Like,
Right, exactly, yeah. And I was like so confused because I was like, this can't be how the movie starts. There's like no credits or anything. It's just he just shoots his kid. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, when do they lose their face? And that doesn't happen for like an hour.
yeah, that's funny. I know. I wish I could have tricked Mary into watching it, but she despises
stand-
Nick Cage.
Which is you and I, we're both like Nick Cage stans. We'll simp for Nick Cage every day. Like we love him. and I think that like
Certainly an
the fact- it's like-
enigma. Yeah.
yeah, I mean he's been in 2 movies a year for the past like 40 years.
Well, I know. I was talking to Gat today, and he's like, oh, dude, I forgot how much I love Nick Cage. I fucking watched Face Off, and I love Nick Cage. And I'm like telling him about all these movies he should watch. I'm like, dude, you got to go watch Mandy and all this. And he's like,
Did he not watch that with us?
he was literally like, I didn't even know Nick Cage has made any movies in the past 15 years. He's like, I can only think of 90s Nick Cage movies. And I'm like, oh, dude, you got some catching up to do, buddy, because there's some good ones. We're in a Nick Cage renaissance right now.
Dude, Nick Cage has been killing it. I mean, he doesn't. I mean, he's probably mixing up a little bit of National Treasure in there.
He watched National Treasure the other day because
yeah, he knows Nick Cage is that. He's still in the Declaration of Independence, my boy. But anyways, I think that he should watch that Willy's Wonderland or whatever.
Yeah,
that one's dope.
Yeah.
All of it. And Mandy's great too. Yeah, and really though,
I really like Mandy. But I'm gonna watch Dream Scenario. Like I'm dying to see. That's one of the ones from the year I'm still really wanting to see.
I really want to see that. And like, what was he? He was in that one that's like Lord of Bullets or something or whatever.
Oh yeah, Lord of War. You know who loved that movie?
Like I would like that.
Take a guess. John. Yeah. That's all.
Oh yeah, John.
That was like his favorite movie. He fucking loved Lord of War.
Yeah, of course he did.
He literally was like, he literally was like, he made me watch that bullet opening scene like 3 times. He's like, oh yeah, let's rewind it. Which is, I mean, it's a good scene. It's a good scene.
John's like train crash video for my autistic brother.
Yeah, right. It is.
Like we gotta go back and rewind it.
We gotta check that out again.
I watched this 4 times.
Yeah, but what was your favorite part then? If your impressions, like you're just thrown into the deep end.
If I could even come up with one. Oh no, dude, it's got one of my favorite. Oh my god, one of my favorite plot devices of all kinds of all time. It should just be in every film. Like somehow it should be like in there. Is the no, not me, honey. Shoot him. He's your real. I'm the real father. Don't shoot me. Shoot him. Like
he's like, use your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, use your eyes. I love it. I love that.
That should be in every film. It has to be in this movie. Like I don't know. They're just.
No, that's the thing. It's like
they're having fun, so I'm having fun. You know what I mean?
I was like, this has to, like, the fact that I didn't notice, like, when the scene was happening, I was like, oh my god, it's right there in front of me. How was I so stupid? I didn't see it.
You fool.
Like, you fool. And I like the daughter, my god, and the daughter's transformation from, like, being that, like, 90s, like I don't know, kind of like mall punk that, like, she's
mall punk, yeah, she's
lip piercing and, like, do a couple braids, and she's just like, fuck you, dad. And then later she's like, looks like a fucking, like, you know, touched by an angel, like, just
she's like, literally like, I got over my trauma. Can't you see physically how I'm actually? It was just a phase.
And that's like, and there you go. That's 90s female character development.
Yep.
And it's in like truest form.
Surprised she didn't win an Oscar. But fucking,
I don't know, favorite part. That's pretty awesome. But then, like, I mean, it's like, I think what I love overall is his choreography. Like, it really is beautiful. Like, John Woo knows what the fuck he's doing when it comes to, like, his fight scenes.
It is the fight, and it's like it's gun fu. You know what I mean? Like they're
right, yeah.
Because it's like even just the small little things, like at the beginning when they first get in their first face off. And in the airport hangar after the plane crash, and he's like, only got one more bullet, and he's like, oh, well, I guess we both know our guns. And they do that arm switch thing when they stand up real quick. And I'm just like,
that's so sexy.
And then that's why I was like, dude, Nick Cage, whatever he's doing, he's just off the leash, and I love it because it's like as soon as he's like out of bullets, he just starts doing that like fake whimpering and everything like that.
Yes,
he does that a couple of times. He's like, I've been a bad boy.
I love it. Yeah, he's like laughing, and then like when he gets the knife out, it's like the most janky kick ever. It's so funny how choreographed it is, but then that is like super slow motion for tension, and it just like looks dorky. But then he gets kicked in front of the engine jet, and I'm like, or the jet engine. I'm like. It's just like
because John Travolta can't lift his leg that high, or his fake skin will rip off. Like,
John Travolta already was geriatric.
I know. Just
during this movie. So.
There's like that scene in Irishman when he's like digitally aged and he's stomping the guy, just kicks the knife out of his hand.
Yeah, they had to digitally remove the cane that De Niro was holding himself up on.
Yeah, it's pretty good. God, I don't even know my favorite scene.
I really can't pick like there's just so many little details that pop up, but then yeah, I don't know. Like I loved all the like computer graphics too.
Yeah.
Where it's like that, like I'll blow you away. Like that. Like, I love how like that hacker style of like
I love how ambiguous MacGuffin type the bomb is too. They're like, it's a bomb. It's a dirty bomb. It's a biological weapon. It's targeting senators.
At first movie,
like, yeah.
And then it gets diffused, and so now we're on like the second movie. Or
Oh,
third,
I love.
maybe third movie.
I love that he diffuses it with like a second and a half to spare. Of course, it like doesn't diffuse it. He just puts in the code, right? But
right.
But I'm just like, why? And it's just I feel like every decision made in this movie, as a director, every decision John Woo made was just like, what's the most extreme scenario? Like, what's the, of course there's 1 second left of the bomb. Of course he fucking, he harpoons him, but last minute tension, he grabs it first and then he kicks him. And then, it's like, I don't know. It's like everything we can do to just ratchet it up. And that's why he rules. I don't know. Like, I'm sad because I've only seen like a few scenes from Hardboiled, and I'll watch it on my own one of these days, but I keep putting it on the polls. I put it on like last week or something, or the week before, and it didn't win, but that was the third time I think that it's been on a poll and was lost. So like one of these days we're just like, we'll watch Hardboiled. Because we watched The Killer, and I thought it was great. And I really want to see Redcliffe as well.
Yeah, Redcliffe kind of looks kind of fun, little period piece. But I don't know, man. Hardboiled would be dope because the killer was stellar.
Yeah,
I love
Killer was cool.
Like,
which is funny because I had to go back and look, but I forgot that we did Point Break, and that was back when we were doing two movies at the same time. And Point Break and The Killer was one episode. So.
Oh really? Oh, I didn't.
Which means we must have already done like an action month. I don't remember.
We did, yeah. We did like 80s, 80s.
Oh,
80s and 90s action.
it was like specifically.
Yeah, we did.
What else
we
did we
that.
watch?
We did that like 3 years ago. So
yeah,
it's been a minute.
Yeah,
go back and listen to those episodes. They're pretty good
if you can. Yeah,
I know. Right, actually, true. Yeah, if you can find them.
You can find them on Podbean for sure.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Because now we're like 100. We're like episode 147. Well, this is episode 140. Oh, I typed it wrong. I think it's 147. But anyway. I think it only lets you do like the last 100 episodes, and I think that episode might be like episode 47. So it might be the oldest episode right now that you can find on like Spotify or iTunes or whatever.
Oh.
So okay. now's your fucking chance, unless this literally erases it.
I don't know.
Podbean. Go to Podbean.
It's going in the archive, maybe.
Podbean's got it all. Anyway, you want to tell me? I've been wondering. I've been trying not to look at the money. Because I'm curious. Yeah. Obviously, this is a big budget film, and also it had to have made a buttload of money because it was hugely popular and has huge star power.
Yeah, I mean, I think that John Woo, so it's no secret that in America, a lot of we don't ever. I mean, not ever, but we rarely accumulate full whatever production value back from domestic. Like it's typically worldwide is where we, we recoup our losses there. But this movie by a prominent Chinese director, and China's where we make the majority of our money back. That's one of our largest cinema markets. India's gaining close behind, but
India's coming up, yeah.
And it's just like sheer numbers too, and just cinema culture is larger in those two places, so it kind of makes sense. But it also kind of influences Hollywood a lot, if you're familiar with that, where there's a lot of fucking pretty much every Marvel movie is made to to the specifications of China. But
yeah,
anyways, regardless of all that fun stuff, this movie did great, and it had an $80 million budget, which is
that's wild. Actually like
97,
that's a buttload for the time, but it's just like, yeah, because you weren't really making like huge $100 million movies back then.
No.
So that's
Titanic was
that's
like
huge.
One of the first like $100 million
that's
movies
true.
that was like and like
I don't, but for some reason, just because nowadays it's just like fucking $200 million to make Spider-Man or whatever the fuck. That's just like now I'm like, oh yeah, well they did a lot with it because obviously that star power alone, plus all the copious amounts of fucking like how many things did they actually blow up? The amount of blanks, like who went through more blanks, Predator or this, right? You know, it's like
I know, right, Billy though. Yeah,
the Predator's got an edge because of the minigun, but holy shit, this every single person shooting 2 pistols constantly in this movie.
constantly. I know, yeah. And there's,
Even
there's a
even
lot-
the little wimpy little brother who's supposed to be like sniveling and can't tie his own shoes, he even jumps out of the plane sideways with 2 guns. So it's just like it's
yeah, right. Everyone's doing it. But yeah, then it made 250 million. So
nice.
It did.
Yeah,
It did just fine.
that's
totally,
just fine.
totally made its money back, and
stellar.
it got. I mean, it really, and it gave. I think like with that, John Woo was able to kind of like, make a lot of other big pictures. I mean, he did the Mission Impossible 2, which was.
We need to
huge.
watch. I kind of want to watch the Mission Impossible movies again. I've only seen the first 2.
Oh, see, yeah, and that gave him. Damn, dude, that's crazy. Mission Impossible 2 was 125 million, and it made 550 million dollars.
Nice.
That's crazy, baby.
Well, I remember when that movie came out. You know what made a buttload of money? The soundtrack.
Oh, really?
I saw the movie, but my mom had the soundtrack, and it was like it was everywhere. Like it was definitely like I don't know, like Limp Bizkit and Metallica and shit. Anyway.
Well, yeah, of course. Dude, that's crazy. I can't believe John Woo directed Wind Talkers. Man, that is a cultural fucking melange. Like,
Weird.
That's wild. That's wild. I did not know, and I forgot it was Nick Cage.
I kind of want to rewatch Wind Talkers because it's
really
like
do.
I saw Wind Talkers when I was like around when it came out, so I was quite young. But I remember being like, "Oh, that was a pretty decent war movie." And then everyone now is like, "Oh, it's the most piece of shit war movie ever." And I'm like, I need to go back and watch it.
And I love that
I'm like, is it just Nick Cage and John Woo that they hate? Like, what is it?
I don't know. No, it's got to be like probably the cultural, the like.
Oh, I'm sure it's not sensitive to like.
yeah, yeah. Because how they're like, because I was saying that and Predator, how they use somebody who's like, Native American to be their guide, and it's like that's what this is, and that's what I was thinking of is Wind Talkers during Predator. The whole time I was like, oh man, and I'm like, I wonder if Wind Talkers is any good, and so now I'm gonna go back
we're
and
gonna
watch it and
the
probably be
first
disappointed.
the first genre we ever did for the film club was war, and we didn't even do a podcast for those episodes. That was just when we were doing it for fun.
Was that like 2016 or 17?
Yeah, it had to have been 16 because I was still living at the duplex. So
Yeah.
yeah, and so it's like
We should do it again.
we should do war again because there's quite a and not like I don't want to watch the big ones because we've already watched. That's the thing. There's a lot of war movies that we've not seen, but it's like we've done Saving Private Ryan, we've done Full Metal Jacket. Like I still want to see Come and See so bad. Anyway, we're on a rant. But Wind Talkers, we'll do like a movie for each week will be like a different war. So we'll do like,
that's
like
a good idea.
Yeah,
that's fun.
work our way up and we'll do like, like Vietnam and then like Gulf War or whatever. Anyway.
Sure. Start at the Persian War.
Where I forgot where I was. Are we talking about Face Off?
Oh, well, yeah.
I got a Redditor too.
You got some Reddits? Yeah. Do we have our the usual suspects here?
We got a little bit more comments this week, just because I guess Face Off is a fucking goddamn cultural event. So, and I think this is because I gave him shit, and I really appreciate it. So another opponent says this movie is batshit insane, and it's a shame we don't get movies like this anymore without it having to have labels like cerebral and psychedelic to be worth it. I was going to dog on the acting being too much, but I honestly can't figure out how hard it must be. The dude playing a dude disguised as another dude while pretending to be wearing a magnetic boots for some fucking reason.
Excellent.
Honestly, though, like you're like, I was with you there. I was like, until he said that, I was like, you know what? I was ready to kind of be like, ha ha ha. But then I was like, I don't know. It's kind of hard actually.
Well, yeah, right. Like it's the sincerity, man. It's
the sincerity. Turpin 13 says, just as good as I remember. The stunts in the show are insane, especially the boat scene at the end. The opening scene is also exactly what you want from an action movie. Stopping a plane with a helicopter is straight up badass. Nostalgia definitely kicks in watching this movie back. 4.4 out of 5. Also hot take, but maybe I'm a huge Nick Cage fan. And he's got like 3 cry face emojis throughout that, just so you know. I mean, if you know, he is a liberal user of the cry face emoji, and I respect it. Clones Are People 2 says, this is one of those films that whenever it came on my TV, my dad would sit and watch. Because of this, I've seen most of this many times, but I think this was my first time watching it in one sitting. This movie is as great as the plot is stupid. And I really don't care about how stupid the story is. It's essentially a teen rom-com body swap gimmick put into an action film, and Travolta Cage goes so over the top with it, it works for me. I never realized how much Team America took from that transformation scene. I got a great laugh from that. I had a lot of fun watching this, and that's exactly what I want from this kind of film. If I wanted a more serious cop versus criminal obsession film, I just watch Heat. Yeah, exactly. Overall, 8 out of 10. It's the only John Woo film I've ever seen. What of his should I watch next? Yeah, I said, go watch The Killer. It's dope. Thank you, all you guys, for commenting and watching the movies and commenting. Really appreciate that. That's what I'd like to see. And I'm glad everyone had a good time with that, because I was ready to not. You know what I mean? Like, I was ready to be like, okay, whatever. Like, this is, like, I'm ready to turn my brain off and have fun. But it's just like, if you could see, my mustache is all curled, and sometimes I get like, that's not conducive to dumb action movies. I want to sit and foil over a movie. Yeah. And these movies don't give me a lot. They usually don't give me a lot to chew on, right? They're just very shallow, right? So it's like, but I get fun out of them. But I was expecting something dumb fun, which this was that, but there was a lot. It was way more engaging than I was ready for it to be. And like surprisingly good, right? So it was a lot of fun. Anyway, pretty cool. So this action movie, it's been a good palate cleanser, I think, because it's like, I have been, like you said, like it's slowly opening my mind to the month. And so.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't been like disappointed yet, which is really cool. Thank you for casting your vote towards Face Off. I'm very happy that we got to watch it.
I know. We last minute, it would have been between that and Smoking Aces, and I think we made the right call.
I think we did. Yeah, I mean, Smoking Aces may have like been just as high as Face Off, so maybe people would have commented and joined in. But I feel like there's going to be something. It's weird. I feel like there's going to be something dated about Smoking Aces.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a long time, and I remember it being really cool. But I feel like maybe the editing and stuff would annoy me now, because every early 2000s movie had like that really like speed ramp quick editing with like the color flashes.
Wanted? Did you watch Wanted again 10 years after it came out?
I want to, because
it was rough.
I know it's rough, but he's Wanted. Say what you will about Wanted, but they are swinging for the fucking fences in Wanted.
Yeah,
and sometimes it just doesn't work. But sometimes
is hell.
Yeah. I haven't watched Wanted on.
Where this isn't dated, because I think it is. I think there really is. This is what we mean.
It's the VFX.
And cinephiles. This is what people mean when they say practical. Like it literally is. Like there's just something so like in Predator, the shit that's dated that you have to like excuse is the digital stuff that you're like, well, this was, it's like you could have done this practical basically, because it's like how they did the costume was essentially practical. Like it's all in camera tricks basically, and then they smoothed it with. They gave it effects with camera or with computers. So it's like that's what's kind of cool is like it's a mixture of, it's the best of both worlds. So where this movie, there's like if there's a drop of CG in this movie, I don't know where the fuck it is. Besides like I guess the animation for the computer stuff, which that is physically like it's it doesn't count as
diegetic.
Yeah, it's diegetic, right? Exactly.
Yeah, it's part of the film, like exists in universe. Yeah. Anyway, Face Off is dope. It's doper than I remember, man. It's it's not a
Yeah. Thanks for hanging with us while we got our faces off, dude. We should have switched our bodies, and I should have tried to have been you this episode, and you could have been me this episode.
Dude, already it's hard to differentiate us.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
If it wasn't for our voices already, like it would be hard to tell who's who sometimes.
I know, yeah. I can't
even tell you how many times my wife is like, "Well, why don't you just marry Jordan then?"
I mean, why don't you?
I know. I was like, I wish.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got one more week of action movies, and snuck in last minute
Yeah, dude. No, I looked at it before
Snuck
I
in.
got on with you. It was like there was like 2 hours left when I looked at it, and I was like, "Oh, it's a dead heat between First Blood and Edge of Tomorrow. What's gonna win?"
And Con Air. They were all like
Con Air
right
won.
there.
Oh,
No.
yeah, I didn't even. Oh,
Con Air didn't
won.
win. No, they were all 7.
I know. I'm just saying. When I looked, Con Air wasn't 7 at that time.
Oh,
It was, and I just
last I looked, they all 3 were 7.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and so it was like dead heat. But it ended up Edge of Tomorrow. Ended up winning it.
I know. Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Put it. One vote. Put it over the edge.
Did or a couple hours ago. Have you seen it? Have you seen Edge of Tomorrow?
Of course. Yeah, dude.
I couldn't remember if you saw. Yeah, I saw it once, but I want to rewatch it. You know what I mean? I'm ready to rewatch it. I like fucking Emily Blunt.
Oh yeah. Would die, kill, repeat, die, or whatever, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, live, die, repeat, or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is way doper title.
I remember seeing Edge of Tomorrow and totally being underwhelmed, but I also probably just wasn't in the mood for it, and so I'm excited to see it again.
I'm interested because it's like, as much as I also think it would have been cool to see Con Air or First Blood, I'm interested to see Edge of Tomorrow because it does feel like more rounded out for the month, right? So it's just like Con Air is another 1997 fucking Nicolas Cage action movie, which I love Nick Cage, but I do feel like I've gotten my dose for the month. And then like First Blood is dope. I haven't seen it. It's just Predator, but with a PTSD instead.
Yeah.
And so it's like having a sort of more modern, but like, yeah, there's especially in the last 10, 15 years, there's been a lot of like more big sci-fi action movies, and superheroes, especially obviously. But that's why I put that on the poll and it won. So I'm kind of glad that it's like, we're having a big action movie in that sense, like a more modern. We've had all these older movies using a lot of practical effects. Even Bad Boys 2 had a buttload of practical effects, and so I'll be interested to see, because this obviously has a lot of CG, I'm sure.
I love the through line of the last 3 movies, or the last 2 movies, and then this one. They're all gender bend, or like, you know, whatever. They're all like genre benders.
Yeah,
like they all just come through with this like it's what if we made a sci-fi war movie that's Groundhog's Day? Like, you know,
yeah, it's cool, right?
All these like, yeah, like what if we made a face-off sci-fi movie with boat chases? what if we made a war movie with?
They probably made him like there probably was more boat chases originally, and they're like, John Woo,
well,
you already have so much.
No, he wrote, the reason he got that into that movie is because he got the budget for it, because in Hard Boiled he wrote a huge long like 20-minute boat chase in Hard Boiled, and he couldn't afford it, and so he finally got his finance to do it.
Nice.
That's why it literally is like 5 movies put into one, because it was all these ideas that he couldn't afford before, and so he was like, hell
just
yeah.
like, yeah, throw it all in, baby.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well,
yeah, dude,
thank you everyone for listening. Thank you everyone for voting and commenting on the Reddit. Go watch Edge of Tomorrow and join us next week where, you know, go watch that. Come tell us your thoughts, and we'll be back next week.
We love your support. If you would like to go to Patreon and support us, we would love you. We'd kiss your feet. I'll send you pictures of me kissing, and then you can put them on your feet.
Oh yeah, can I have that?
Personally, I will. Yeah, I will. 100%. I can send that to you. I have like a Xerox on my printer. So
I'm so jealous.
Everyone will get a scan of my face, and then you can put it against your feet.
As soon as
kissing your feet for money.
As soon as we stop recording, I got to tell you about all my printer woes. I gotta go buy a new printer.
Yeah. Oh, buddy, dude. Yeah, no printer. Printer. I'm like, I haven't touched my printer for like 2 weeks, and I'm afraid to turn it on because it won't work. That's just how it is. But anyways, yeah.
Printer woes. Here it comes.
Go to Patreon/Coldest Cinema Knowledge.
Yeah, go to the Reddit. Go get in. Talk to us next month. Oh, next month. I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit. My wife, as long as she still likes me by then, she's going to pick all the movies that we watch, and then she's going to come do the podcast with us. So that'll be a lot of fun. To mix it up. She's been giving it a lot of thought, so I appreciate the effort. So, all right. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.